The sound of a child's cry sliced through the cold afternoon air like a blade. A small boy, no older than 6, sat trembling beside a broken toy truck, its plastic wheels scattered across the dirt road. His mother knelt beside him, one side of her face swollen and bruised. Just moments earlier, a group of men had stormed out of a nearby factory, shouting insults. And in their rage, they had pushed her to the ground when she begged for her unpaid wages. They had laughed as they smashed the little boy's only toy, the one he had been clutching proudly, waiting for his mother after her long shift. If you believe in kindness, justice, and second chances, then please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Stories like this remind us that even in the darkest corners of the world, compassion still exists, and sometimes it comes from the most unexpected places. The mother's name was Rana, a quiet, gentle woman who worked 12 hours a day at the local textile factory. She was paid by the hour, but more often than not, the owners found excuses to cut her wages. Her husband had passed away 2 years ago in an accident at that very same factory. A rusted machine malfunctioned, and he never came home. Since then, Rana had struggled alone, caring for her only son, Ali, with nothing but determination and faith to guide her. That morning, Rana had gone to the factory to ask for her remaining pay, a modest amount that would have covered Ali's school fees and maybe a small cake for his upcoming birthday. But instead of receiving her money, she was humiliated. The factory supervisor, a cruel man named Malik, told her that her husband's death had already been compensated enough and that she should stop begging. When she tried to reason, they called the guards. They pushed her, cursed at her, and when Ali ran forward to protect his mother, one of them kicked away his toy truck, shattering it. The boy's cries echoed through the nearby alleyways. Most people turned away. No one wanted to interfere with the men from the factory. They were powerful, connected, feared. But not everyone looked away that day. Across the street, in front of an old auto garage, a group of leather-clad bikers had been watching. They were known around town as the Iron Brotherhood, a group of former mechanics, ex-soldiers, and wanderers who fixed bikes, rode for charity, and helped local kids stay out of trouble. Their leader, Rafi, was a tall man with a scar over his right eyebrow and a heart that had seen too much of life's cruelty. He had once worked in that same factory before it broke him, too. When the bikers saw the scene unfold, Rafi's jaw tightened. He glanced at the broken toy, at the trembling mother, at the tears streaking down the little boy's face. Then, without saying a word, he walked toward them. The other bikers followed. Rana looked up, startled. Her first instinct was fear. She had heard the town gossip about bikers, reckless, dangerous men who lived on the edge of the law. But when Rafi knelt down beside Ali and picked up the broken toy pieces gently, she saw something unexpected. Softness. He held out the truck, now missing a wheel, and said quietly, "This can be fixed, little man. Don't cry." Rana's eyes filled with tears. They hit me," she whispered, "and they laughed at my son." Rafi looked toward the factory gates, then back at her. "Who did this?" "Malik and his men," she replied, her voice shaking. "They say they don't owe me anything. But that's my husband's factory. He died there." Rafi stood up slowly. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with controlled rage. "No one hurts a child and walks away laughing." He turned toward his crew, 5 men, each one hardened by life but bound by loyalty. "Brothers," he said, "saddle up." Within minutes, the thunder of engines rolled through the narrow street. The sound was deep, powerful, and commanding. Locals peeked through their windows, whispering nervously. The bikers lined up at the edge of the road, their jackets glinting under the late afternoon sun. Rafi took his helmet, looked at Rana, and said, "Stay here. We'll talk to them." Rana tried to stop him, fear clutching her heart. "Please don't. They're dangerous. They have guards." Rafi simply nodded. "So do we. Our courage." The engines roared and the group rode toward the factory gates, their presence impossible to ignore. Workers began to gather, curious and anxious. Malik, the supervisor, stepped out of his office, a mocking grin on his face. "What's this? A parade?" he sneered. Rafi dismounted his bike, his boots crunching on the gravel. "You hit a woman and broke a child's toy," he said steadily. "You think that makes you powerful?" Malik laughed. "Who are you to question me? This is private property." Rafi took a step closer, his voice low but deadly serious. "I worked in this factory once. I know what you people do to your workers, how you steal their wages, how you cut safety corners. One man already died because of your greed. His wife came for her pay, not for your insults. The laughter faded. The workers began whispering among themselves, some nodding, some lowering their heads in shame. Raffi turned toward them. You all see it. You all live it. How long will you keep quiet? Something shifted in the air. The workers, beaten down for years, finally saw someone standing up for them. A few of them stepped forward, emboldened by the bikers' courage. He's right, one of them shouted. We haven't been paid in weeks. Malik's confidence began to waver. Get back to work, he barked. But the bikers had already spread out, forming a wall between him and the workers. Raffi didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. You owe her money and an apology. The supervisor clenched his fists, but the sight of 6 powerful men standing firm made him think twice. He spat on the ground, muttered something under his breath, and finally pulled out his phone to make a call. Moments later, an accountant emerged with an envelope. Malik shoved it toward Raffi. Here, take it and go. Raffi didn't take it. He turned to Rana, who had walked closer by now, holding Ali's hand tightly. This belongs to you, he said softly. Take it with your head held high. Rana took the envelope with trembling hands, her tears falling freely now. I don't know how to thank you, she whispered. Raffi smiled faintly. Just promise me one thing. Don't stop believing there are good people left in this world. But the story didn't end there. As the bikers prepared to leave, little Ali tugged at Raffi's jacket. Mister, can you really fix my toy? He asked in a small, hopeful voice. Raffi knelt down again, holding the broken truck. Not just fix it, he said, smiling. We'll make it better. That evening, back at the garage, the sound of tools filled the air. The bikers worked together, sanding, painting, and reshaping the toy truck. They even added a tiny metal badge on its side, a silver emblem shaped like a motorcycle wing. When they handed it back to Ali the next morning, the boy's face lit up brighter than the sun. But something else had changed, too. Word of what happened spread quickly. The workers at the factory started speaking up. They demanded fair treatment and proper wages. Local journalists picked up the story and soon authorities began investigating the factory's management. Malik was fired for his misconduct and the factory was forced to compensate not just Rana but several other families who had been wronged. As for Rana, she found new work at Raffi's garage, helping manage supplies and accounts. She became like family to the bikers, often cooking meals for them and bringing Ali around after school. Ali would sit in the corner playing with his now repaired toy truck, sometimes pretending it was one of the big motorcycles outside. Months passed and life slowly started to bloom again. Rana had found not justice, but dignity, something she had thought was lost forever. Raffi, too, found a new purpose, helping others like her. The Iron Brotherhood began organizing charity rides, raising money for widows and children of factory workers. They became local heroes, not for their power or reputation, but for their kindness. And one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ali rode on the back of Raffi's motorcycle, his laughter echoing down the street. He shouted over the wind, Uncle Raffi, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. Raffi smiled, feeling something in his heart he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Then promise me, he called back. You'll always ride for what's right. That night, Rana watched them from the garage doorway, her eyes glistening with gratitude. The engines roared one last time, not as a sound of rebellion, but as a song of redemption. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who rise from the dirt, guided by the kindness of strangers who see their pain and choose to stand beside them. And sometimes a broken toy can bring together hearts that heal a whole community. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel and help us spread stories of hope, courage, and compassion that remind the world what humanity truly means. Special request. Comment below what part of this story moved you the most because maybe, just maybe, your words might inspire someone else to choose kindness today.